Between the year 2000 and 2022, trade volume between Latin America and China skyrocketed by an incredible 3,500%. Yet, despite this phenomenal growth, one major challenge stood in the way: the lack of a direct deep water port. For decades, freight ships from South America had to take long, costly detours through elsewhere before reaching their final destinations. But that bottleneck is finally a thing of the past. The history was made on November the 14th. Peru's long-awaited deep water port, Chancay Port, was officially inaugurated in a landmark ceremony attended by the presidents of China and Peru. Even before its grand opening, countries like Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Chile, and more had already expressed strong interest in utilizing this state-of-the-art gateway. So, what makes Chancay Port a game changer? Could it position Peru as Latin America's new trading hub? And what ripple effects might it send across the entire region? Today, we unpack the port's potential and promise with my colleague Chen Tong from Lima. It's Sunday, November the 17th. Chen Tong, you had the privilege to witness this historic moment in Chancay Port. How did it feel?
It took more than 2 hours to travel from the capital Lima to Chancay. When we got there, it was really an exciting moment seeing the official opening of the Chancay port. It took about 4 years for the project to be constructed.
Very exciting moment. And before the completion of this port, why do freight ships from Peru have to take a detour to North America rather than taking their products straight to China and other Asian countries?
Well, it's because, there's no deep water port in Peru, and Chancay is a natural deep water port which can handle the world's largest container ships. So I've met with some Peruvian entrepreneurs at opening ceremony, and they told me, in the past, there are cargoes that want to ship from Peru to China, they need to go to Central America or North America or go to Hong Kong first and then go to Chinese mainland because, there's no direct route between the two countries. But now the Chancay port is allowing a direct route to connect Asia with Latin America. So that will shorten a lot of time. In the past, it would take more than 2 months for cargoes to be shipped from Latin America to China. But now the Chancay port is shortening that period to only the shortest should be 23 days.
Wow.
So it's really fast. So I think it provides many opportunities for especially these agricultural products, because in China, the agricultural products from Latin America are quite popular, like blueberries, avocados, grapes. And now these fresh agricultural products will have more opportunities to be shipped from Latin America to China. And that means residents in China, they will have better opportunities to taste the fresher coffee from Colombia, blueberry, avocado from Peru. So yeah, it's really exciting moment to see the opening of the Chancay port.
Right. So many businessmen in Peru, they are already excited to see the opening of this newly constructed Chancay port. So what exactly is the location of this port in Peru, and why will this port change the future of shipment between Peru and China and other Asian countries?
Well, Chancay is about 80 kilometers north to the capital Lima. And if you look at the map, it's along the coastal line of the Pacific Ocean. The location of the Chancay port is very important. It's a deep water port which can connect directly between China and Chancay across the Pacific Ocean. So that will help shorten the transit time. And that's the key. The location of the Chancay port is very important. It's key to shorten the transit time between the two countries.
And compared to the other existing ports in, let's say, Peru and other South American countries, what is the position of this newly constructed one, the Chancay port? How does it compare to other ports in South America?
Well, let me give you an example. I met with a Peruvian entrepreneur who sells this very cute alpaca plush toys to China. And I met her at the seventh China International Import Expo in Shanghai. And I talked with her, and she told me before the construction of the Chancay Port, her alpaca plush toys are shipped from a port called Callao in Peru and then to Hong Kong and then to Shanghai. But Galileo is not as large as Chancay, and it's already been handling a lot of cargoes.
Hmm.
So they have to wait. They have to line up for their cargoes to be shipped from Peru to China. And as I mentioned, they have to go to Hong Kong first and then to Shanghai. So because of the Chancay, the size of the Chancay is larger compared with the Galileo port. So that will provide more opportunities for entrepreneurs like her to ship their cargoes in a more convenient and faster way.
Hmm. Right. So the demand for shipment is far larger than the current capacity of the ports around Peru. And that's why we are having this new one co-constructed between China
Exactly.
and
Yes.
Peru.
Yes.
And that brings me to my next question that for the past 2 decades, we have seen this huge exponential growth of trade volume between China and Peru and other South American countries. But why it took such a long time until today that we have seen a new modern port being constructed in Shanghai? What's the technical difficulty to construct this port, and what did China bring into this new modern facility?
Well, of course, I'm not a professional architect, so I'm not sure
Hmm.
why it takes such a long time to build such a modern and functional port. But building such a modern and functional port, and they need investments, and that's why Chinese companies are coming. And I think to answer the question, what does China bring into this? Well, you have to look at who is Costco Shipping. Costco Shipping is the largest shipping company in China and one of the largest ones in the world. Shanghai has the world's largest port, and Costco is in charge of it. So Costco has a lot of capabilities and experience of constructing such modern and functional port. So it's bringing its experience to Peru to help the Chancay port to build into such a modern and functional and green one.
Hmm. Now, with the construction and inauguration of the Chancay port, will this deep water port contribute to the overall economy of South America and especially the regional integration on the continent?
Well, here at Lima, it's really exciting moment to see the presidents of China and Peru witness the inauguration of the opening of the Chancay port. And during his talk with his Peruvian counterpart, Chinese President Xi Jinping said, well, China is ready to work with Peru to push their comprehensive strategic partnership to a new level for the betterment of the peoples of the two countries. And, Chancay port is an epitome of the bilateral tie between China and Peru. But it's more than that. The Chancay port is allowing more cargoes to be shipped from Latin America to China.
Hmm.
And for example, cargoes that arrived in Shanghai, they can make a transfer in Shanghai first and then go to other countries, for example, Japan, South Korea, or Southeast Asian nations. So the Chancay port is not necessarily only the epitome of the bilateral cooperation between the two nations. It actually helped to facilitate trade between Asia and Latin America. It's a gateway to connect Asia with Latin America and bring the two sides of the Pacific Ocean closer.
So it sounds like there's a lot of significances around the construction of the Chancay port. And now with its completion and inauguration, what's the future outlook economically between China and the Peru ties with the opening of this port?
Of course, it means a lot. Here in Lima, Chinese President Xi Jinping, in his speech and his talks with his counterpart, he mentioned the Chancay Port many times. And the Chancay Port is, as I mentioned, it's a gateway to connect Asia with the Latin America region. The Latin America countries, they are relying on the Asian market, especially the agricultural products, because the Asian market, especially China, is in demand of
Hmm.
these agricultural products. So the Chancay port is allowing more products from Latin America, especially these agricultural products, to go to Asia. And it's not only about Latin America exports, it's also about Chinese products coming to Latin America. I've talked to some experts at the opening ceremony of the Chancay Port, and they are saying the Chancay Port is allowing more Chinese products such as new energy vehicles, the batteries, and this electronic equipment to be shipped from China to Peru in a shorter period. So it's not only about Latin America products coming to Asia, it's also about Asian products coming to Latin America. So it's a two-way exchange. So of course, it means a lot. And I've had a chance to talk to many business leaders here at Peru, and they told me the Chancay Port means really a lot. It's a milestone. It's under China's Belt and Road Initiative. But it's not only benefiting the two countries, China and Peru. It means much more. It's benefiting the nearby countries like in Panama, Chile, Argentina, Brazil. So it's really a huge project, exciting moment for everybody in the Asia-Pacific region.
So with the construction of this new port, there's going to be a lot more potential for the trade relationship between China and the Latin American countries. Thank you very much for your time, Chen Tong.
Thank you for having me.
Centuries ago, Chinese immigrants arrived in Peru working on cotton plantations or starting small businesses that left an indelible mark on Peruvian culture. Today, the bond between these two nations has evolved into something far more profound. China, now the world's second largest economy, brings more than just funding and technology. It offers a wealth of development expertise and a blueprint for transformative growth. That brings us to the end of this episode of Deep Dive. If you enjoyed what you just heard, don't forget to follow us on your podcast platforms. Just search for Deep Dive. You can also leave comments to let us know what you want to learn about China and beyond. This episode is brought to you by me, Li Yunqi, and my colleagues Zhang Zhang and Qi Zhi. Special thanks to CGTN reporter Chen Tong. I'll see you in the next one.